Honey, he, honey, hoo, honey, ha, honey, ha, ha. Hello and welcome to the tennis. Seeing red, Fritz and Demon deliver the Laver Cup for Team World. Viva Italia! Italy still queens of the Billie Jean King Cup, and the master returns, the GOAT himself. How will Djokovic hold up in Shanghai? That and more is all ahead with me, Xavier Muhlebach. Alongside me, the blue tick herself, it's Brie Stewart.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Well, I don't know. Isn't it?
Kind of.
Okay.
Good to be here.
Well, that's good. The numbers never lie, and neither does he. Analyst to the stars, it's Simon Rea.
Hey, Xave. Thanks for having me back.
Always a pleasure. We ask quite frequently. It's rare to say yes, so thank you for coming.
Sure.
He's
not
a busy
because-
man.
Yeah, he's
Sure,
busy.
That's quite true.
Crunching
but,
the numbers.
Well, you know, podcasts are lies and everything's
I
not
don't think
meaningless.
I've declined yet, but all the same, good to be here.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And the man who wields a pen like Excalibur, Sir Dan Imhoff, welcome to the round table.
Oh my God,
Thanks,
I didn't know
Dave.
you've been knighted. You've become a sir.
Wow.
When did this happen?
Any other
Congratulations, Dan.
2 weeks in a row. This is pretty special.
Yeah, well, whatever.
It is
It's
special.
like a slam run.
Yeah.
Second week.
So Dan, it's a big week for you.
It is.
And why?
I think we'll
Has it
save
got
this
to
for
do with
Ace of the Week,
AFL?
though,
Oh my God,
right?
you're using it as Ace of the Week. But it's in my notes to ask you about your beloved Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, so they're through to a third grand final in a row.
Which
But-
is unusual for poor old Brizzy, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't in the early 2000s. They won.
Oh,
Okay.
living in the past, mate. Can't the
We've
Catters?
got to, right?
Oh, you're a Geelong
care?
follower.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Geelong as well, aren't you,
No, I
Simon?
support Collingwood.
Yeah,
the rest
that's
But
of my
your
family.
family does.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
have familial ties to Geelong.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be
And
up
They're
don't
the
I know it.
superior team.
Yes.
And Simon, moving on from Mr. Tigers, Lions.
Lions,
Tigers.
Come on.
Same
Ironically, Bree's a cheater, so it all...
feline sort of family.
It's 99 days until the Australian Summer of Tennis kicks
scary.
off,
freaking out.
which gave me hives this morning. But what does the team have planned on your side?
Yeah, so, wow, 99 days. Countdown really is on.
Is
So-
everyone feeling a bit
Yeah, I've got
a little bit
palpitations
anxious
now.
about that. Yeah, we've got obviously our real-time analytics that we provide at the Australian Open.
Yeah.
We provide that in-house. I think we're the only slam to do that without outsourcing, so proud of that. We want to support our Aussies. Clearly, that's a big part of our focus over the summer and some of what we're going to talk about today. You know, we want to help them beat the rest of the world. So as much as we're trying to provide an unbelievable experience to all comers here at the Australian Open, we certainly have an eye on the prize in terms of wanting to support our Aussies and seeing them go deep in the event. And I think there's a part of what we do that I haven't surfaced well enough and widely enough is the team have got some data going back 5, 6, 7, a decade or so in terms of time that sits in front of the tournament director, sits in front of Mr. Tiley and could inform him in terms of length of matches over time. What are the trends? Length of matches on which courts? What's the point duration look like? Are tennis points looking different in 2026 than they did in 2021?
I love that.
Time between points. It's kind of like, I think, you name it in terms of some of those metrics of interest, and maybe they're just of interest to me.
No,
love
that we
that.
could use it editorially
Yeah,
and
They're at our
social.
fingertips. So there's
Yeah.
some things that I think we could do or spread the word a little bit more widely in 2026 than we have before on.
Is there like a live dashboard during the event, like that Craig sees?
Yeah, that one.
So,
Yeah.
so he's not just looking at historical, but minute to minute, the matches are going longer, trends that are happening
Yeah.
throughout any given day.
I think depending on how well versed you are in filtering for what you want to see, tournament IQ we call it, and it sits in front of him and his team there. And we'd like to think that if there's an insight that he's interested in, hey, late finishes, etc. What are the trends there? It's in front of him, and he's got those insights at his fingertips.
And when you're sitting in coach's box, which we see you sometimes during the AO do, especially with our Aussies, and you've got an iPad,
Yeah.
is that what you're looking
Yeah,
at?
that's
cool.
the real-time analytics. So that's
Yeah.
serve location under pressure. Where were they returning from in the first set? Where are they now in the fourth set? What's happening to that forehand? Are they starting to hurt us with that forehand? Are they making more errors off that side as the match is going on, etc.?
Now, each week we do something we call What's Caught Your Eye. Great little pun. Let's start with you, Dan Imhoff. What caught your eye this week?
I'm going to go with Laver Cup. We've
Yes,
just
the Black
finished
Court.
the 8th edition in San Francisco. And
Who won?
Team World.
Good.
Yeah.
And we actually last week we had to guess scores.
We
I'm
did.
pretty sure I
Are you
won.
ready?
You
No,
didn't
are you
claim
ready to
another
hand
one.
your crown back? I think Jamie was the only one that picked
Yes.
Team World.
Ooh.
Oh,
from
yeah.
No, I
memory.
picked Jamie and I both picked
Oh,
12.
did you? I stand corrected.
No. The crown sits here.
So we need to see the score.
Yeah, we're going to look back at the tape.
Yeah, we
I'm
have
pretty
to.
sure my pick isn't actually
wrong.
possible.
Okay.
So
That
yeah,
would've made
I'm
it
out.
hard.
Yeah. Even no, had it come to fruition though,
Because I had mine very close together with World just beating.
Okay,
right.
you-
Well, they
you'd
smashed
be in
them
the hunt then.
15-9.
Well, was that a
Todd,
smashing?
Well, yeah.
yourself and I picked
Europe.
Team Europe by a mile.
Yeah.
Well, we just
Yeah.
picked a number and
I
pointed
would've
at it.
picked
I'm
them.
pretty sure I won again, but look, I don't want to be seen as like
So Dan, what
Okay,
caught
so
your
we're
eye?
on.
insufferable.
Alex de Minaur ended up being probably one of two stars for Team World, I'd say.
Yeah.
Bit of a whirlwind trip back and forth across the Pacific.
Yep.
Went across. He was the only player that ended up winning 3 matches,
Wow.
which is impressive coming off
He
that
just beat
Davis
Davis
Cup,
Cup.
setback in Sydney. Who did he beat? Zverev, Mensik in straight sets. And he teamed with Mikkelsen in doubles to beat Ruud and Rune, the Scandinavians.
I took this as a big opportunity to take a step in the right direction and play the type of tennis that I want to be playing ultimately. And, you know, I've had a couple tough matches and tough losses where I've had lots of regrets, and, you know, that wasn't easy to deal with. So a little change in mindset and kind of backing myself and playing the type of way I want to play with that clarity has been very important from the very first point till the last. And yeah, it's definitely the way I want to be playing.
Did he have something to prove, do you think? Was he
I
like,
think
Davis Cup rattled me, I need to go and smash some
Possibly,
Euros?
and I think he liked the environment. There was a really touching moment in the lead up, just in the training sessions, where Rod Laver, the namesake of the event, the new vice captain at Team World, Pat Rafter, and de Minaur were on court together.
I
And
saw
it was
that.
3 of our generations of standard bearers, I guess. De Minaur hasn't won a slam yet, obviously, but
Yeah.
the other 2 are 2 of our greats.
Yeah.
2 of our greatest.
Yeah, like synonymous with the sport in
Yeah,
Australia.
and he called it a real pinch me moment, getting to spend a bit of time with them. And Rafter himself had some nice things to say after he won that doubles. He said he always tends to underestimate himself. He's quite humble. He's impressive at net. What I also like, he never gets discouraged. He stays true to himself and he knows his game. So that's
It's nice.
a pretty big rap from Pat. He doesn't just throw around compliments like that willy-nilly.
Do you know what the observation just from watching Laver Cup was that everyone was having a really good time.
Yeah.
Like even watching Agassi with Rafter, I really loved like this small, unassuming Agassi with this
Yeah,
tall Pat Rafter, and they're laughing on the sidelines and obviously winning as well. And then when you look on the other side with Henman and Jannik
Noah.
Noah, they were kind of similar. It actually has a really nice kind of playful, I suppose, because you're not also playing for points, right? Like it is
Yeah.
more relaxing.
There's definitely less pressure. I mean, I know they ride it on that last day, but it's still less pressure than probably Davis Cup or Slam or, you know, that kind of
It's
environment.
more about pride being on the line and, you know, than
and
points.
it's a bit of fun for them.
Just some
right?
guys
They
hanging
get
out
to
playing
really
some
bond
tennis.
and hang
But
out a bit together.
And I think there's opportunity in that as well. And one of the things that I really enjoyed reading about out of the weekend, or seeing in real time as well, was the relationship that Demon had with Captain Agassi and then with Pat on the sideline as well.
yeah.
And a couple of things that he spoke about and that came out in the analytics post match in terms of the use of his slice backhand, something that Andre was trying to get him to do a lot more of, particularly against Zverev. And coming forward, you've touched on it, Dan, in terms of, you know,
Great at
Pat
volley.
said to him, you volley better than perhaps you give yourself credit for. It needs to become a part of your game. And Demon made comments as well. So often we associate his movement, his explosiveness around the court with his ability to defend and retrieve and counterpunch. But more, can you use that speed in an offensive way? Can you get inside the baseline? Can you take time away from your opponent? And we saw a lot more of that. I think Demon was talking about the different geometry that exists on the court. There's perhaps more options to use my speed in a different way than I'd realised before.
Yeah.
And he was tracing that back to the conversations with Andre and Pat on the
And he
sideline.
probably hadn't had a lot to do with Andre before. And what better person, one of the greatest returns
Exactly.
we had, who took the ball earlier than most.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
And probably nice to have a different perspective from your everyday
100%, it never
coach
hurts.
as
That's exactly
well.
what
And
he
he's
said.
been with his
Yeah.
coach
Yeah.
since he was young, right? It's been really faithful to
Yeah.
that coach. And now he's just had this 2 breaths of fresh air, kind
Yeah.
of giving
Yeah.
2 different perspectives.
Well, it's
With that
funny you
level
say
of
that,
gravitas in the
because
game.
this
Yeah.
renewal of the captaincy of both teams has
Yeah.
really injected a whole
Energy
Yeah,
into
a whole new
Laver
energy
Cup.
into it.
There's a fresh feel about it.
100%.
Because there was McEnroe and Borg were there for the first 7.
Yes.
Phenomenal
Yeah, they were great.
captains, but it seemed there was time for a
Nothing
change.
I could change.
And gosh, and they really, you could tell that Agassi and Noah came in and really gave a shit. they were just like, let's do this, boys.
Yep.
Agassi looked like he was having the best time of
Yeah,
his
he
life.
said
And I
that.
know
Yeah,
Rafter said
yeah.
he had the best time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And you could feel it through the TV screen watching and in the social content. It's really good.
The other one I wanted to mention was Taylor Fritz, who had that pivotal win over Alcaraz in straight sets, which was impressive given he'd come off that US Open loss to Djokovic. You weren't sure how he was going to rebound, but he was really strong. And then he beat Zverev in the 12th match to seal it for Team World.
Yeah, well, actually, we've got a grab from Taylor Fritz after beating Alcaraz. Let's have a little listen here.
Such an amazing moment, and I'll say it again. I think what really does it for me is not the win itself. It's just how I played. It's just the level. It's taking advantage of those big moments, pulling the trigger, just going out and taking it. You know, I think I win a lot of matches from kind of like just serving and pushing, and I think that that's kind of been my joke this year. I'm a bot that pushes, but this is the tennis that I want to play, and it makes me so happy to play at that level, and I'm hoping this can be a sign of things to come as far as just me being able to just trust it in the big moments.
Right, so we just heard from Fritz there. Great player, not a great comedian, but anyway. Simon, how's Fritz able to adapt his game on slower courts like this to beat the big players?
Well, I thought that was really instructive, hearing him talk about his want and his determination to play a more aggressive brand of tennis and to not rely on, we know he's got that ability to be safe and be consistent. He called it pushing, and he can do that well. But up against the very best, it's not been a recipe that's been enough to challenge them. So the head-to-heads against Alcaraz, 1-3, against Sinner, 1-4, including losing the last 3 matches. I'm just looking at over the last 12, 18 months or so, losing the last 3 in straight sets. And against Djokovic, he's 0-11. And I had a look at those matchups to try to dive a little bit deeper. What is going on when he plays those players? I think he's caught a little bit between on his second serve. So all of those players are able to impact on his second serve. I think Taylor would say, if he were in the room with us, his athleticism and physicality and movement is not a strength of his game like it is with those other 3. He wants to play on top of the point more. He wants to be the one dishing out the punishment, which he alluded to there. But on second serve, even at mid 160s on speed, 160 k's an hour, 165 k's an hour, it's not enough to threaten those guys. And they take control of the point. They get an opportunity on second serve. I think where he comes unstuck against them is he's very predictable generally with his location on second serve. Even at 165 k's an hour on second serve, if they know where it's coming, they will impact you. And again, I said it last week, or the last time I was on, that is where good players go to die. If they have a read on your serve and you become predictable, they will hurt you, and they will hurt you every time. And that, I think, is the price that Taylor Fritz is paying. He either needs one of 2 things, or perhaps both. More variety on his second serve, or much more speed. Be prepared to serve a few more double faults. Serve into the mid 170s, I think, is a frontier that he hasn't yet explored. But he did at the Laver Cup. He's up at 170 k's an hour. And Carlos Alcaraz could not impact on Fritz's second serve on those slow courts in San Francisco.
So he needs to throw caution to the wind a bit, you think, on those second serves?
I think so.
particularly?
He's either got to mix up location a lot more, keep them off balance in that way, or he's bringing a lot more heat. 165 k's an hour is not enough. It won't threaten those guys. It needs to be 175. Even then, it might not be. If I were coaching him, I'd be working, and I'm not, for good reason.
No, he's a keen listener.
I'd be working on more variety on the second serve.
Yeah, well, so that shot placement, keeping them guessing,
Exactly.
crucial. Because
Maybe it's a
otherwise,
bit too chill.
Yeah.
To dumb it down.
And I think that's why I thought it was really instructive what he was saying around. I want to bring that brand of aggression and purpose to the court more often. And I want to be in charge of
still success from it.
my own destiny, perhaps, rather than relying on my opponent to miss. Because those guys, they don't miss.
Yeah.
Well, that was Laver Cup number 8. Next year, they're actually heading back to London to the O2. Dan, you might finally get a ticket instead of just watching late night down here. I know you're a rabbit fan.
might host it here one year.
Someone asked me at Davis Cup, where was it next year? And I said Copenhagen. And then later on, he was like, Brie, it's in London. And I was like, I had no idea. I just picked a city.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, though. That is a city.
Thank you.
You named a city. Queen
But
of
yes,
geography.
it's in London, so that'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I think we should all go. Junket.
First one.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
That'd be good. All right, well, I'm going to jump in here with what caught my eye. Speaking of Europe, that's a long bow to pull, but Italy secured its second consecutive win of the BJK Cup. It was a 2-love sweep over 18th time champions of the United States. Elisabetta Cocciaretto defeated Emma Navarro 6-4, 6-4, recovering from a break. And Jasmine Paolini defeated Jess Pegula 6-4, 6-2, of her first win over Pegula in 6 meetings. So it was quite a domination by the Italianos.
Yeah. And I feel like they only won BJK Cup in November last year, didn't they?
They did. They're the first team to go back-to-back since Czechia did
That
a
feels
three-peat.
early. Have
I
they
think it was
moved the
2016
season
was
forward?
last time
Yeah.
Yeah,
someone defended.
So good.
it is pretty amazing.
There was a good stat too about their head-to-head. I don't know if you saw it with the US,
Yeah.
but you don't. I know Italy's been strong, but you always think of US as like
Dominant.
another level, right?
Yeah.
And there might be a caveat here that players like Serena wouldn't have played every year,
Mm.
but they've now won their last 6 ties against the US.
Wow.
Including 3 finals, 09, 2010 and this year.
Yeah.
Last time the US beat Italy was 22 years ago.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would never have expected
Never,
that.
No.
right?
I mean, the Italian tennis world is incredible. Like, if somewhere here, like we did a documentary last year, you know, the rise of Italian tennis off the back of Jannik Sinner's championship here. It's just been incredible, and it's amazing to see. There's real dominant forces in the Italian women's side as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Paolini clearly at the front of the queue.
Yeah,
And-
well,
and
2024 was a breakout year for Paolini. Roland Garros final, Wimbledon final, Olympics doubles gold. Simon, how do you think in 2025, how's her game heading into the WTA finals?
Well, I think her game's in great shape. Has she had the absolute breakthrough this year at slam level that perhaps we saw from her last year? No. She still finds herself well and truly secure in the top 10 in the world. I think she's ranked number 8 this week in the WTA rankings.
So good.
And I love the way she goes about it. She's a player that's smaller in stature. She's one that she doesn't have the overpowering first serve, you know, but what she does have is great variety. We spoke about it before. She keeps her opponent off balance on her serve. She knows she's not going to blast the ball by you. But what she does is she kind of flips that script on its head. When it's your turn to serve at her, now she keeps you off balance. So typically most players have a return profile where we know what to expect. Player A likes to return from on top of the baseline. On second serve, they like to be inside the baseline. You know what you're going to get. Against her, you don't. She can do it all. She can be on top of the baseline on first serve return. She can be 3 and 4 meters behind the baseline on first serve return. So that gives her the ability to flex. If she's up against a Sabalenka, she can go back, buy herself some time. She prides herself on making returns into play. She's not going to allow the opponent cheap points. She's like, if you're going to beat me, her mentality is if you're going to beat me, you're going to earn it.
Yeah.
So I've got some tools in my kit bag where I can mix it up. I can keep you off balance. I can give you a different look. I'm going to challenge your rhythm as the server. And anytime I do get the racket on the ball, I'm going to put it into play. She wins 50% of her first serve return points. The average for the top 100, even the top 10, is 40%.
Oh, wow.
So when you think about putting
impressive.
a 10% gap on the field, that's really
That's big.
significant.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a little bit how she does that, mixing up her position, making a whole bunch of returns, eliminating the ability for the server to get free points. And then she does it differently from the back of the court as well. Again, it's not an overpowering game per se, but her forehand, she does it differently. More spin, more net clearance. She gets the ball jumping off the court. She challenges your impact point down the other end. And I just love the way she goes about it. She goes about it in a different way. She's really clear on her weapons, what works for her, and how she's going to impose those weapons onto her opposition on any given day. And it's
Yeah.
different than what we see from the rest of the top 10 and the stock standard approach, if you like. So
And her court speed too is another factor in that, isn't it?
her ability to defend, get to her left and find that forehand that we've spoken about. Yeah, the points are hard to come by against her because she defends so well. She can neutralize some of the weapons that are coming at her, and she can get points back on her terms, particularly in the right conditions, which for her are slower. That's why we've seen some of her outstanding performances be on the clay courts. So to answer your question directly, how does her game match up with the faster indoor type surfaces? It's more of a challenge for her.
Yeah.
But that's how good she is. She can still win matches against the best players in the world in those conditions.
Yeah.
She seems mentally strong as well. Like she's always out there, smile on her face, bopping around. I feel like she's quite.
I think that's a great point you make.
Yeah.
And she was, when you talk to our player development crew, Nicole Pratt spent some time in Italy when she was maybe 18, 19.
Yeah.
She was a little bit of a later developer. She wasn't, world number 1 junior at 16. And I said to Brady, well, what was she like at 18, 19? Determined, never missed a session, incredible personal qualities. She knew that she was going to get there. She was resolute. and she was on a journey, and she wasn't going to be put off that journey easily. So amazing how it comes back to, the kind of the fire that burns from
and the
within.
belly.
And here we are a decade or so later, and you see that coming true every week out on tour.
And that team result too for Paolini, as you said, didn't have quite as strong a year at the Slams as last year.
Yeah.
That could really catapult her into this last stint of the year and coming into AO again.
Which I think the team culture piece has to be a part of that
big.
record against
Definitely.
the US.
Yeah.
That's incredible. When you think about the force that the United States is in women's tennis.
That's right.
That is an incredible stat that Dan referenced earlier.
Yeah.
Even though the women led the way before Berrettini, Sinner and the men,
Yeah.
they of course had a lot of slam success early with Schiavone and
Yeah.
Panetta, Arani, who's still out there.
Yep.
So they kind of forged the way a little bit, but she's obviously a lot younger than them. She wasn't a part of that, but they paved the way for her.
Yeah. So sticking with the team aspect, the Italians are obviously having a very dominant period yet again.
Yeah.
Looking more locally, Dan, in your opinion, with the Aussies, are we going to see them progress a bit further in the next round of BJK Cup?
I think they'll do very well in Hobart. They've got a pretty good draw with Brazil and Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
Brazil has one big player with Haddad Maia, but beyond that, they would be expected to win all their matches. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a bit colder in Hobart in November. Maybe the Brazilians aren't totally keen on that. Can only hope for their sake.
All right, Brie, let's jump over to you before we take a call from China. Little tease there. Now, you're consistently bringing up Iga. Tell us your thoughts.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to talk about Iga. No, but Iga, she had success in Seoul last week. So she defeated Alexandrova, won 6-7, 6-7, 5. It was her third WTA title this year, which is amazing. And it is now her 25th WTA career title.
Huge.
Which is amazing.
Because she's only, 23, 24?
4 maybe.
24.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a really big, we had seen a little bit less of Iga throughout the year this year, but we are definitely seeing her back on top, which is great to see. One of the things I really did love is in her presser, she spoke about, and we'll throw to it, how her dad had actually been at this same location in 1988 for the Olympic Games.
The Olympics in 1988 were like the highlight of his career, and he's been telling us story about it since me and my sister were kids, so I'm happy to explore this city. He's been talking about being here as a great adventure, so I play different sport.
So her father was in the rowing team at the Seoul 1988 Olympic Games, didn't win. So she was basically saying that she's very happy to be there and be winning on her terms when her dad couldn't. That was quite cute.
Quite inconsistent, that family.
Yeah. I tend to find that the more you hear about tennis players, the more they've got like these athlete backgrounds.
I forgot to mention, but everyone in my family has a gold medal. It's like, whoa, all right.
And even like things like archery, and it's like, award-winning archery. Like, sorry, pardon, but that explains why I'm not an athlete.
Because
my parents are terrible athletes. Sorry, Mum and Dad.
Hello to Mum and Dad.
Yeah, they do listen. So, hey there, Eddie and Julie. Keep running. But how many career titles can Iga win if her career lasts another decade, do you think?
Good question.
Well, you said, what did she win? Her 25th?
24th.
So that's
25th
from 30 finals. I believe that's an open era record as well, to have won it in that fewer finals.
Yeah.
Look, it's all motivation, really, isn't it, for Iga? And how much she can keep evolving as the game evolves.
Yeah.
Well, there's something missing. She's never won AO.
Which is exciting for us.
Yeah.
Come January, isn't it?
Very exciting.
It is.
And she's always in the mix. Like she's always, if I had to choose, maybe, what's going to tip it over? What makes her the clear cut?
Missing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I think that's a really good question.
Okay, open your ears, Iga.
I think
Simon's
going to
tell you.
I think she can claim another 50 titles, and it's easy to sit here and throw the number out,
Yeah.
right? The remarkable part is getting to work, having a look at some of the numbers around those great champions of our sport and how many titles they've collected over the journey. That's the hard part, get to work and fulfill the 50. But I think she could average 5 titles a year for the next decade. I can comfortably see that. She's such a force on the clay courts. And I think we are seeing her improve on the faster surfaces. I reckon she's a better version this year on faster hard courts than she was 12, 24 months ago for sure. So she's continuing to improve, to evolve her game. I reckon she can average 5 titles a year, and that's not easy to do for the next decade. I can see her getting to mid-70s and beyond.
Well, very few gave her much hope of winning Wimbledon, did they? So
exactly,
you would not put it past her.
If she can win at Wimbledon, she can win at Melbourne Park for sure.
So do you think she could or will win this year? Would you put her, based on what you're currently seeing, to both of you experts?
And following on from that, does it come down to what Sabalenka's doing?
A lot, yeah.
I wouldn't have a favourite going in right now, but I'd certainly have her in the top handful.
Yeah, totally.
I think that's a great point from Dan. I would have said probably Wimbledon's her slam that's going to challenge her the most. So to be as dominant as she was on that day against Anisimova, and we spoke last time I was on about the response from Anisimova in New York, how impressive that was. Yeah. But if she can conquer Wimbledon, she can conquer the blue hard courts at Melbourne Park for sure.
We just need to put some clay down there on Rod Laver and she'll be right at home. She loves a bit of the
Then she is favourite.
Yeah. Then there's no question.
But I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
We did just touch before on how tennis players tend to have a lot of athletes as their parents. Simon, is there any advantage of this? Because we've got Seb Korda, Sakari, Ruud, Shelton, Fritz, Tsitsipas, they've all got sporting families, and there's many more. I'm pretty
just
sure
tennis families alone.
So they're
just tennis.
Yeah.
Like
then you've got people who have these incredible histories, like you were pointing out, archery and rowing.
rowing.
It's mad. What's going on? Is there something in the water?
And does it help them? Does it make them better?
Well, that's one that I haven't jumped into the data
Come
to
on, Brie,
examine
surely that's
to
on your
within an
stats
inch of
map.
its life. But I think undeniably the genetic advantage, right? It exists. That's real. And then some of the conversations, I think it can have its challenges as well when you think about sometimes what we see in terms of the dynamic with the Tsitsipas camp maybe. But I think, when you're able to share experiences and talk through some of the difficult moments and a shoulder to lean on and been there, done that, like that impossible to put a value on that.
Yeah, being able to relate to your child.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's never quite as good as it seems, and it may not be as bad as it seems in the lowest of lows. I've got to feel like there's a huge benefit in those moments to having been there before.
Yeah.
There's that genetic element. The genetic element of their ability, but then if the parent was also a pro athlete, that's a whole other level.
The
isn't
environmental
it?
experience of having been there, done that, and how to handle some of those difficult moments that inevitably pop up along the way.
All right, we're going a little bit long today, as we tend to do here at the tennis. So we're going to have a quick break, and then after this, we will have an update live from Asia with our very own Rhys Duderg. Stick around. Welcome back. Brie, there's a strange man on our TV.
He's not a strange man. It's Rhys the Dude from our social and content team. Where are you, buddy?
Ni hao, everyone. I'm from Beijing, China, at the Beijing Olympic Park, on my way to the site for the China Open for the first round action to continue. Stunning day, and here's the
bird
famous
nest.
bird's nest
venue
behind me.
Yeah.
And it's a stunning walk. It's like beautiful parkland, lanterns everywhere,
It's got a bit of a Cirque du
flowers,
Soleil
sun is
vibe to
shining.
it. Look at that.
Yeah.
Is it warm
this
there?
Sculpture behind me, no idea what that is. Yeah, it's really hot today. We had some cooler days earlier on for qualies, but today's really hot. So expect some lively, fast conditions.
And main draw kicks off when, Rhys?
So main draw for the WTA side started yesterday, and we had, some early round results with some of the top seeds having buys in the women's side. And some great results across the board.
Tell us a little bit. We'll kick off with an Aussie success that's happened so far. Tell us how Priscilla Hon's going. I know you had a chat with her last night.
Yeah, I did. So it was a record-breaking China Open for the Aussie women, with Madison Inglis and Priscilla Hon qualifying. That took our total in the women's singles up to 6. So Aussie women's tennis at the moment is having a real moment. And Priscilla Hon, speaking of having a real moment, she is on absolute fire. She's having some of the best success of her career, coming off qualifying at Wimbledon and then the US Open. And now here, she won yesterday. She beat Golubic in 3 sets after losing the first set quite quickly. And she was just ecstatic after the match. I spoke to her, and this win is her first WTA 1000 win, and it's also a win that projects her into the top 100 for the first time.
Wow.
It's amazing.
A story of great perseverance.
Yeah.
She's been around for so many years, and she told me everyone's told her she's always had the talent. She'll get there one day, but she's had so many injuries, so many setbacks. And now to just see her finally break through into the top 100 and beating, I think, 5 top 100 wins since Wimbledon. She's on absolute fire at the moment.
And I think
amazing.
she's 27, right? So it's not, as you said, it's not an instant success for her. She's had to wait, and there was a serious injury there where she didn't think she'd ever play again.
Yeah, she's just really turned her form around and had an amazing run, really taking it to her opponents as well on serve. Their serve hasn't been at her best, she told me, at the China Open. She really had good success at the US Open with her serve, but just holding up in the big moments is what she told me. She said in the pressure points when she needed it to work, things happened for her, and she just had great mental capacity and mental energy to get through in those tough moments.
Now, Rhys, from some good news for Pre-Hon to some kind of disappointing news, especially for the local fans, Sabalenka withdrew from Beijing due to a little minor injury. How's that going to affect the tournament, do you think?
Yeah, well, it's interesting for Sabalenka. Obviously, she sits at world number 1 at the moment. Madison Keys is also withdrawn, but the rest of the top 10 are all in. And that race for the number 1 ranking, year-end number 1, is really on. So, Brie, you just spoke about Iga before in Seoul. She's coming in with some great form. Yep. She'll come into this event as the number 1 seed, Coco Gauff number 2. Those two will probably go in the favourites at the moment. They're in some pretty good shape. But without Sabalenka, really opens up the draw, and it opens up that year-end number 1 race.
And it's kind of then similar on the men's, right? Because Alcaraz is playing Tokyo, so we've just got Sinner. Who does that open up possibilities for other players against Sinner, or is it just going to be
just an absolute
the Sinner show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, isn't it, that we're not going to have Alcaraz and Sinner. They had such a good final here last year. It was probably the match of the year, in my opinion, in Beijing. But yeah, 2 500 events this week, Tokyo and Beijing. Jannik's without his bestie, but who else is in the draw? Well, there's only 4 of the top 20 players in Tokyo. The rest who are playing this week are in Beijing. So the stronger draw is here in Beijing. It's just a matter of who do we think could make the final.
Obviously, Qin Wen, we haven't seen as much from her, sadly, this year due to injuries. She's possibly returning to this event.
Watch this space. She's currently in the draw as the number 7 seed to make her return. And last year when I was here, I got the chance to watch her, sat at the very top of the Lotus Stadium, which is a huge stadium, and got to watch her on the centre court. And she's like Taylor Swift here in China. She is huge. So it's massive for the event if she does play. The crowd was absolutely full, not a spare seat in the stadium. She doesn't quite have the singing abilities of Taylor Swift.
She loves it. Yeah,
but she is a queen of karaoke. She absolutely loves it. She brings the same energy. Watch this space. I'd heard some rumbling. She's not 100%. She hasn't come through for her media yet. But watch this space. She's still in the draw. So fingers crossed, because that'd be great for the event.
So, Rhys, thanks so much for joining us. We know you're over there getting some amazing content.
And dumplings.
And he's having dumplings to promote the Australian summer, which is 99 days away.
Wow.
We know that when you wind up all that content capture in Beijing, you will be off to Shanghai. So hopefully we can talk to you when you're there as well. If not, we'll see you back here in Melbourne.
Thanks, Brie. Thanks, guys. Exciting times ahead for the summer of tennis.
Good to see you.
Bye, buddy.
Enjoy, mate.
Woo!
See ya.
Oh, well, good on Rhys, having a great time over there. And he's off to Shanghai next, and so is the GOAT himself, the Joker. Simon, you've got a little caught your eye moment to round out this show. What's happening in Shanghai?
Yeah, so Novak's off to Shanghai, and we know we've seen him on a reduced schedule in 2025. We haven't seen a lot of activity from him outside of the Slam, certainly in recent times. So looking forward to seeing the brand of tennis that he brings to the court there. In terms of, you and the teams, they've asked me to have a look at, well, what does success look like for Novak in Shanghai? I think semi-final or better is par. I think you become a victim of your own success, don't you? In terms of, for mere mortals, it's maybe winning a couple of matches and finding your way again
Getting
on
out
hard
of bed in the
courts.
morning.
But for this guy, he'll be looking at anything less than a title is a fail for him. I think semi-final or better is a resounding success, and building towards some of the bigger events at the back end of the year on the European indoor swing.
He recently said in his press conference, which we talked about at the US Open, that he feels he's got more in the game if he's on the 3 sets versus the 5 now with some of the younger players.
Agree.
Do you think we could see that performance as an example in this setting?
I think it's a good point because I think, I referenced semi-finals, and I think if you forecast forward to that, I think what happens is at that point in time in a best-of-3 event, you've got more petrol in the tank because you haven't spent so many of your tickets in getting there.
Yeah.
You've got more energy, more reserves to still call on in those moments when you really need them up against your Sinners and your Alcarazes at the business end of those tournaments. So I think that's a good point and potentially a differentiator that allows him to have more success against those guys than what we've seen at best-of-5 level, as he spoke to off the back of his loss in New York.
Yeah.
Well, it's been quite a tough week as well for him personally.
Yeah.
His longtime mentor, Nikola Pilic, he was a singles finalist at Roland Garros back in '73, later coached Djokovic and Ivanisevic. So a real loss for the tennis community, Nikola, and all of our thoughts and commiserations go to his family and friends of his, and best of luck to Novak going into Shanghai.
Really looking forward to seeing what he can do.
So hypothetically, Simon, if he does win Shanghai, how could that influence his career outlook?
Well, in terms of career outlook, I just think it gives him, if in that hypothetical world he's able to get over the top of one of or both of Alcaraz and Sinner at the business end of some of those tournaments, I think it does give some renewed hope, some renewed belief that perhaps, and we know the margins are fine when you get to the business end of these big events, perhaps he's been lacking at best-of-5 set level. So anything that might help to shift the needle to possibility and opportunity rather than just that air of uncertainty, which I think he's been dealing with in facing those two men in recent times, can only be a helpful thing. So perhaps best-of-3 set tennis in that way is a good vehicle to shift the needle towards best-of-5.
If he can plant any seed of doubt like he did at the Olympics last year.
Yeah.
Alcaraz, he
That's
then
a good point,
followed up
actually.
and beat him at the Aussie Open.
Yeah.
So he was in his head.
Yeah.
So if he can get any little advantage in Shanghai doing something like that, he'll take it.
I think that's right. Confidence comes from action. So that's part of the action that he'll be hoping to bring to the court in Shanghai.
Very good. Well,
Love.
that wraps up our What Caught Your Eye this week. And speaking of outcomes from action, Saville baby news.
There is
Exciting.
some Saville
Yeah,
baby
speaking of that.
news.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brie, talk us through it. Not the whole thing.
um,
We know the mechanics.
I did actually message them both on Instagram being like, this is the best news ever. But yeah.
And then what did they reply? Red.
No, they just liked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dasha and Luke last week.
Friends of the pod.
Friends, dear friends of the pod, dear friends of Australian tennis community, really, and the global tennis community. They shared on Instagram that they're expecting their first child in March 2026.
Don't know what that noise was, but I'm very excited.
And a few days later, they found out the gender, and we're going to have a look at what they posted.
Who do you want?
Girl. Pretty nerve-wracking.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
Let's see. Where is it? Oh, it's it's the boy.
Really?
Oh, come here.
Really?
Oh, it's a boy.
Where? Oh.
A boy.
So
Yes.
How cute is that? They're having a little boy, and it is going to be amazing. And actually, that brought some more tears to my eyes. Again,
Yeah,
just
Toby's going to have a
watching
little
that.
brother.
I've heard that dogs get really put out.
Yeah, you got to put a sock in the dog's bed from the baby.
Oh, really?
What's the
From
sock
the-
gonna do?
Like, so not just a random sock.
Every time
Like,
I get home, Dumpling steals my socks out of my shoes.
No, when
'cause
you have the
it's her
baby-
mummy smell.
have the
gross.
baby in the hospital, and then you get an article of the baby's clothing, and you bring that home first. So the dog
Yeah.
goes, okay, that's a smell that I'm going to have to get used to. Then the baby comes in, and the dog goes, all right, it's more than a sock, but I'll take it. That's basically how it works.
Yeah. It's like when you get a new puppy, you always put a jumper with your scent on it so they don't get as anxious when you're not home.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can tell you're not a dad.
Is that because I said your socks are gross?
Yeah, probably.
Tell you, not a dad.
Oh, now we're both
I meant to
in.
say dog dad, but I just lost it.
Well, that is thrilling news. And speaking of thrills, That's what's happening in their lives this week. Let's take a look around the table for our Ace of the Week. I love this bit. This is the bit where everyone gets to say something that's giving them a little bit of joy, not necessarily tennis related. I prefer it to not be. Simon, I know you've got one burning a hole in your pocket. What's your Ace of the Week?
Yeah, well, mine is, sorry to disappoint you, but hopefully you'll approve all the same, Xave. Slightly tennis related. We're thinking about Priscilla Hon, and we've spoken about her finding a way into the top 100 right now. A mate of all of ours here at Tennis Australia and a long-time coach of hers through all of her developmental years, who was just, I can't describe him any other way than a gorgeous human being, who left us in 2023 at the age of 43, passed away due to melanoma, was Anthony Richardson. And I reckon when Pri won that match last night against Victoria Golubic and found her way into the top 100, I think Richo raised a glass of something really nice upstairs. And I know I wasn't the only one that was thinking of him last night. He spent literally hundreds of weeks travelling around Australia and around the world with Pri and was such an amazing influence on her, not to mention his own daughters and our sport more broadly. So, just thought that was an opportune time to let Richo know that we're all thinking of him here today.
Yeah.
Lovely touch.
That
was
is
a really good one.
Brilliant Ace of the Week.
Well, none of us are
I'm
going to
not
top
sure
that.
we
exactly.
can go after that.
So, Dan, what about you? You got anything?
Well, Brie
heartfelt?
kind of jumped the gun on it a little
The
bit earlier.
producers. I just read the notes.
So I'll just
well.
finish up what was my ace of the week. Going to the AFL Grand Final for
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you've got tickets.
100,000 people
Yeah, it's our Super Bowl.
at the MCG, just across from Melbourne Park. Really tough to get a ticket.
Impossible
But,
to
get.
Yeah, my
Wowzers.
team looking to go back to back. They haven't done that since.
But Geelong didn't win last year. What do you
2003.
mean?
The Lions.
The big
wow.
cat.
Yeah, no, Bel's making a joke.
Oh,
they-
got you.
Yeah, they're taking on Geelong Cats, and I believe you're going.
Yep, I'll be there with my 6-year-old who's very much looking forward to it. Yeah.
There's
my
some
God,
angry
yay.
fans listening going, a
6-year-old,
bloody
that's incredible
6-year-olds
to
get a
go.
ticket
Yeah.
and I don't get a ticket.
Yep.
Brie, what about you? Ace of the Week?
I've got some days off.
That's good.
I would like to say Melbourne is one of the best cities to live in because we get quite a lot. Well, a few more days off than the rest of the country due to sport.
Yeah.
And I'm into that.
True, we've
you
got the
know?
Melbourne Cup public holiday, and then tomorrow is our
AFL Grand Final.
Public
Someone
holiday.
said to me, "Why do you have the day off?" And I was like, "Oh, so people can go watch the
Parade that
the
no one
parade."
watches.
And they're like, "Are you going?" I was like, "Absolutely not."
I just
going
don't
to the pub with my
understand.
I don't
girlfriends.
either.
Like,
Why is it not on the Monday? Then you can
No, I
get
think you're going to say
absolutely
why anyone would watch the parade.
wrecked on the
I would
Saturday.
like to indicate I also have the Monday off, which is why I'm excited. So I have a 4-day weekend because I have been quite busy and my brain feels like it's not braining. Dan can attest to it. He sits with me
Oh,
every
we all
day.
can. It's okay.
So I've decided I need some circuit breakers to
Bit
get
of
my
R&R.
brain back and then I can
And that's great. And
Get back
you
into the
need
swing
to
of it.
do
Well
that.
deserved.
I
Well
do.
deserved.
I do. I
Smart
really
move.
like to push myself to the brink.
And then once you go
destruction.
well past that brink, then
Then I probably should sleep for a couple of days. So yeah, I'm looking
Enjoy.
forward to that. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Yeah. What about you, Xave?
well, as you may have noticed, I am out of my sling.
But still
Do that independently.
using your hand as a
Hey, that's better than last
that's
week.
such,
Yeah.
I think that's a lie.
Well, do you want to
Arms
bump it
don't
again
do
and
that.
find out?
You don't. So I'm out of the sling now, but the real
So
ace
he
of the
can
week.
move it. He's now moving it.
'Cause
It's
I can
such
do
a lie.
You don't
Miraculous in a
understand.
week.
And then he's like,
Because I can't move it up, but I can do this. I just can't move
Okay,
it
enough
up.
with the motion.
No, so it's not just that I'm out of the sling, but I love my team here at Tennis Australia. I've got really good people
Yes.
who work with us. And one of them, Jake, gave me, rhymes, a cake. Just to be like, mate, I know you've had a really rough couple of weeks.
wow,
and
that's
he just gave
lovely.
me this really delicious
that is
looking little
really
cake.
Isn't that left over from Jamie's
nice.
birthday cake?
No, hers was a weird unicorn that I got from the supermarket.
That's a really, so that was your ace of the week.
Yeah.
The cake. That's
No,
really
not
nice.
the cake, the gesture from my team.
It's been a big show today, so
has.
we're going to leave it there. There's been so much energy, so many giggles. Don't worry, there's going to be so much editing as well. So thank you to Simon and Dan for being here with us today. Xave,
Thanks for having us.
always a pleasure. We didn't fight as much as we normally do.
Well, not in what we left in the edit.
Yeah. And we also love each other.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
really,
totally
really, really,
fine.
everything's
fine. But thanks to you for watching or listening. And we will see you next week.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Cheers, guys.
Hey everyone, Harps and Andy here. Just want to remind you that you can watch every episode of The Tennis on our YouTube channel, Australian Open TV.
And we have an email as well, podcast@tennis.com.au. If you thought the show was amazing or you thought it was terrible, we are keen to hear from you. We'll read it. So feedback, comments, whatever it is, get in touch with us at our email, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Catch you later.